Good morning. My name is John Haggerty. I'm the Division Director of Rail for Sandag, and I'm also the project coordinator for the Midcoast project. So I'm going to walk you through the project and give you an overview of what the project's about and how we're going to build this project. We're doing it in a new and unique way for Sandag. So this graphic up on the board is the Midcoast project. So the Midcoast light rail project will start in Santa Fe Depot and extend all the way along basically the I-5 corridor up to the University City area where it will terminate. Along the way, there's two other projects that are being rolled into this. One of them we call the Elvira Morena double track project. It's in the vicinity just south of SR 52. So part of the project includes double tracking a portion of the low sand corridor, and then in conjunction with that, down in the lower corner where you see the green line going east, the low sand tracks cross the San Diego River. The Midcoast project will also need to cross the San Diego River. In order to make that work out from a construction and engineering standpoint, we need to also add a double track bridge across the San Diego River. So we're going to replace the San Diego River Bridge for the low sand and then build a light rail bridge. All of this is being done through the Transnet program that Mr. Dale just talked about. So we have at least 50% of the funding from the Midcoast project, which is about $1.7 billion, coming from the federal government through the FTA, which is the Federal Transit Administration. And then for the low sand projects, a funding partner for Sandag is the FRA, which is the Federal Railroad Administration. Federal money always comes with a lot of strings and requirements, and so that's important to understand some of the funding requirements. The real improvement here is that it will be a one-seat ride on the Midcoast project from the border all the way up to UTC area, including the University of San Diego. You've also got a stop at Old Town, which connects that to UCSD, and a stop in the Linda Vista area, which connects us to USD. And the low sand double tracking will be one element of significantly increasing the capacity for the coaster rail up and down the coast from Oceanside down to downtown San Diego. So the next slide just is some facts and figures about the Midcoast project. It's about 10.9 miles of actual rail construction from Old Town north. We're going to do a flyover so you'll see where that's going exactly. We've got about 4 miles of elevated guideway. So once we get up in the UTC area, it's all aerial structure. There's 4 at-grade stations and 5 aerial stations. It's a major rail project for light rail, so that includes electrification, which is traction power, rail signaling, communications, telephones, PA speakers, visual message signs. Just kind of list off some of the things that small businesses have opportunity to work on in both the design and the construction side. Then we have a lot of track work, and including a lot of temporary track work. And track work requires things like grading, rail supply, ballast supply, a lot of trucking that's involved in that. And then we got utility relocation, and a significant amount of utility relocation in the project. So also some significant opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses. So what we're going to do next is go through a flyover. We're starting at the Old Town Transit Center, and we're going to be going north, more or less parallel to I-5. So here we go, heading underneath I-8. Pause it for just a second. So this is where we've got bridges over the San Diego River. So the yellow is the new light rail bridge. Just to the west of that, we're going to first build a new bridge for the low sand, tear down the old bridge and replace that so they get 2 new double track bridges, and then we're going to build a light rail bridge. So we've got essentially 3 bridges in this area that are going to be part of the program. Go ahead. So now we're building track at grade parallel to the low sand track, and pause here. We have a station at Tecolote. It obviously includes parking. You know, typical at-grade stations for us are going to, the ones on this project are mostly going to have parking. So we've got parking, so that's paving, striping, lighting, all those things. So go ahead, moving on. A little bridge over Tecolote Creek. Continuing to move north, again, we're paralleling I-5. And this is basic track work construction. And then pause it here. So we're a station at Claremont Drive, and that also will have parking on the east side of Morena Boulevard. And so we can keep going. And so again, we're building track, and as we're starting to head north, we're getting into other areas where we do a lot more of retaining walls. So there's going to be retaining walls and grading in this area going north. We have a station at Balboa Avenue. The station at Balboa Avenue includes some work with traffic signals and street reconstruction at Balboa Avenue Station, 220 parking spaces, a bus transit center. So all of the things that go with that, lights, paving, grading, rail construction. Go ahead. And so we're continuing to move north. And just, again, we're in the existing railroad corridor. The yellow is where we're going to cross the Rose Creek once, and we're going to cross Rose Creek again, going north. And so this is just construction, and go a little farther, and just pause it here. Now this is one of the more interesting and I think more challenging parts of the project. In this corridor where we've been going so far on this little flyover, we're in an operating railroad. So in this area, the coaster has trains that run in the commuter hours, BNSF runs in the midday and at night, and Amtrak runs in the same corridor. So a lot of the challenges here aren't so much engineering challenges, they're construction phasing and coordination challenges. And in this location, that yellow indicates where, up until this point, as you saw, we've been on the east side of the low sand tracks, the way we cross. We've got to continue up I-5 and go north. At this point, a little farther to the north, the low sand tracks go east. And so we're crossing over. So this is a major structure where we're crossing from the east side to the west side of the tracks and landing just back underneath SR 52. So go ahead. And so in this area, we've got some work. Pause just real quickly. There's a significant drainage channel that's being reconstructed under SR 52. Keep going. And so now we're paralleling the low sand track, but now we're on the west side. We continue to go up, and pause real quickly here. This is where we separate. They're going to start making a curve to the east. We're going to keep going to the north. We have it's not really a tunnel, but we're going to cut and cover section for the light rail to go underneath. That's Gilman Drive, La Jolla Colony, elbow in there. It goes from one street to the other. And so we're going to build a cut section for the trolley and put the roadway on a bridge above the trolley. So keep going. And so now we're going north along I-5. This is a significant amount of embankment and retaining walls. We are in Caltrans right away, so pause for a minute. We've got to work with Caltrans, right of entry permits, all of the issues that go along with working Caltrans right away, if any of you have done that before. This is a bridge, and from this point on, we're essentially going to be on aerial structure. So you're looking at a project that's going to require a tremendous amount of deep foundation drilling. We've got geotechnical work. We've got utility work to clear for that. Drainage. There's just a tremendous amount of work that goes along with this overhead construction. So go ahead. So we're going to cross I-5 for the first time. Have an aerial aerial station at Nobel Drive. So at Nobel Drive, we're going to have an aerial station. At this point, we also need parking for this station. And in order to get that parking, we're going to build a parking structure. We have to replace the parking that's existing there for the Nobel Drive Shopping Center, or it's actually the La Jolla Village Square Shopping Center at our Nobel Drive station. So moving on, again, aerial structure, cross La Jolla Village, VA Medical Center. We got a station that the board just approved there. And pause here real quickly. Then we go on to UCSD campus. A lot of the challenges I said were construction phasing. A lot of the challenges are also institutional. We're working a lot in the city of San Diego property. We're working a lot on Caltrans property. But we're going to go on a university. I was involved when we built the SDSU portion of the Mission Valley East project. Universities are unique. They have a lot of requirements. We're probably going to have to do a lot of outreach to the students. We're going to have to probably find a way to bring some of the students on board for the construction. That helps. They flag construction equipment in and out of the campus. But they have very unique requirements, and we're going to have to work with them to make that happen. Go ahead. So that's one station on the university. We follow Voight Drive, cross the freeway a second time, station at UCSD East, and then pause here. From this point, up to this point, we've kind of been out building aerial structure in an area with nothing really around us. We're going to transition into the center of Genesee Avenue. It's a 6-lane boulevard. And we're going to build the trolley in the center of that 6-lane boulevard on an aerial structure. So as you can imagine, this goes into things like traffic handling. A lot of traffic handling is going to be required. I think there's a huge opportunity for subcontracting in this area. So go ahead. So we're building an elevated station in there. We have a station at Executive Drive, elevated station. Elevator, stairways, all those things need to be there. Emergency exit requirements. And then UTC, this is the final station. And the yellow at the end is the tail track. We're going to actually extend the trolley beyond the end of the track. So that's the flyover of the project. And this is a slide that shows you what that aerial structure is going to look like. So we've got deep CIDH, or drilled footings for the columns, large concrete columns, concrete structure. Right now it's intended to be cast in place, but the design will look at that further. You see the wire above, so we've got wire, there's railing, there's a lot of things. This is the next station at Nobel. And then, go ahead. And this is just, again, an artist rendering of the station at UCSD East. And then a couple quick plan views. So this is looking down on the UCSD station. So you can see this have a station platform. We'll have a ground plane area where we'll have an elevator plaza and landscaping and, you know, all of the finishes there. And then there's a pedestrian bridge and elevators as well. Go ahead. This is just a Balboa Avenue station, kind of the basic layout with a parking lot up in the upper left-hand corner is a bus transit center, and all the you know, again, typical shelters, benches, all the message signs and that kind of thing. Go ahead. Now moving on, the Elvira Morena double-track bridges. Again, we're going to rebuild 4 single-track bridges into double-track bridges. It's 2.6 miles of heavy rail construction. It's, again, on an operating track, and it's going to be built adjacent and in coordination with the Midcoast project. And then this is a graphic, again, of the San Diego River Bridge. Okay. All right, going on, we're doing the 3 projects that I've just gone through through a construction manager, general contractor, CMGC contract. This is a new method to Sandag. We've pretty much always in the past been design, bid, build. So we would produce 100% design plans, put them out for low bid, take the low bid, and build the project with all the things that come along with a low bid project. We have 2 design build projects that Sandag's currently doing. We got the state passed a bill that allowed us to move forward with CMGC. So that's what we're going to do. So again, it's a new method to Sandag. What we were really looking for out of this is a creative process where the CMGC, we're going to actually hire the contractor before we finish design as part of the design team. So the contractor will be put on the design team under a separate contract, and then once we've completed the design, we will ask them for a GMP, or guaranteed maximum price. And so we anticipate at least 3 contracts, 1 for each of the projects I've shown, but there could potentially be more guaranteed price, maximum price contracts out of this procurement. So we have 1 procurement, 3 major components to it. The advantage we see is we believe it's going to do a lot to help us improve our design and our production. We're going to work directly with the people building it as we put together our plans and specifications. Timeline, where we are on this. The red line indicates where we are more or less. We're looking at A couple things. Up in the white space, it says ROD, FTA ROD, and then full funding grant agreement. That ROD is the record of decision. As of September of 2014, we're looking to have this actually be a project. So we've got an approved environmental document by the FTA. At that point, we have a project. And so then anywhere from 6 to 9 months to a year later, we will get a full funding grant agreement. That will be the federal government's contract with Sandag to pay for half of this project, which right now is just below $2 billion. The lines below, so we're in engineering now. We're in the CMGC selection process. We'll select a CMGC who will do the pre-construction services. It says blue, it says final design. That's an FTA requirement. We have to cross a threshold and get them to give us permission. Then we'll negotiate a guaranteed maximum price with the CMGC during pre-construction services, and then go immediately to construction. The way it's going to work in front of our board, we've gone to the board and we've got evaluation criteria and selection criteria for that CMGC. That was approved by the board. We've issued the RFP, so the 2 lines at the top are done. Right now, we'll be doing the evaluation process. Once we get our evaluation committee has recommendations, it will go back to the board to be approved. Once the board's approved, we'll move on to the next phase where we'll take a short list and we'll then recommend a single CMGC down at the last, the third X down. And so that's another board decision for Sandag. And then when we've negotiated each of these contracts, the board will also approve those contracts. So that's the overall view of the project, or these 3 projects, and the CMGC procurement from a project standpoint.